Thank you for coming. We'll open the meeting with welcome our officers first. Thank you for our support as always. Sorry, we're not in the chamber. That's being used for other purposes. First items at the minutes, page 5 to 12. Just confirms a true record, please.
Yeah, I'm
Any
happy
comments? Confirm that. You're happy with that, colleagues?
Yeah.
Thank you. Declarations of interest. Any declarations of interest? No declarations of interest.
You sign.
Yeah. Things are done like this, but thank you. So public question time. Do we have any questions from the
No.
public tonight?
No.
No questions from the public. Thank you. Chairman's announcements. I have no announcements to make at this meeting. Therefore, we'll move on from that. Item 5, the main purpose of the meeting tonight is to report the Cabinet for Planning, Coast Protection and Flooding, which is you, Paul. Do you want to present to us with any commentary the draft island planning strategy?
Yeah, thank you very much, Leader. As members will see, the report is laid out in front of us. Since full council, there has been discussion with members on the paragraph 61.15, which was the item that caused some concern regarding its clarity and its impact within the report. I know that officers have been working with members to see if we can find a compromise, and I think that we may have one this evening. What I would like to do is make a recommendation, and that is to agree some of the full council recommended changes, all of the recommended changes from the Policy and Scrutiny Committee for Neighbourhoods and Regeneration, and all of the recommendations from Corporate Scrutiny Committee to the draft island planning strategy, with changes as attached at Appendix 1, which has been revised, which has been amended, Appendix 2 and Appendix 3. Appendix 1 reads, specifically in reference to the proposed wording for paragraph 6.15 in column E, agreed change of reason, and we felt that it was unsuitable. The new amended wording is, it is important to set out that this is 6.15 as amended. It is important to set out that any planning applications submitted, including those on allocated sites, should consider all relevant policies of the development plan, the NPPF, and any relevant legislation. While the plan has sought to avoid a lot of cross-referencing within policies, it is acknowledged that many of the policies in the plan are interlinked, and therefore no one policy should be considered in isolation. If on the planning balance, the development proposal, including all allocated sites, is unacceptable, it will be refused. And I think that was key to some of the suggestions that have been made by members. I also add to that recommendation 8, and that is to recommend to full council that the draft island planning strategy be approved and published for Regulation 19 period of public representation, and then submitted to the Planning Inspectorate for examination. And finally, to recommend to full council to delegate any final editorial and presentational changes to the IPS prior to the publication and submission to the Director of Communities in consultation with the Cabinet Member for Planning, Coastal Protection and Flooding, so long as they do not materially alter the intention of the version agreed by full council. That is my recommendation, Leader. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder? Thank you, Julie. Julie, seconder. Any comments from any members? Ian,
I'd just like to say that, you know, working together with elected members and indeed our professional officers within the planning service, I think we've come up with a set of recommendations there that could be carried forward. And I think the island planning strategy is more robust than it would have been otherwise without the contribution of all members and without the, as I say, the talent and the professionalism of our officer corps. So obviously it's been seconded, but I should be supporting the recommendation.
thank you, Ian. I guess then, any other
Councillor
comments?
Lilly, please.
Councillor Lilly.
I just wanted to say that at the beginning of the week, I put forward my objections to the wording of 615 and put forward suggestion. I wish to compliment the officers for Gainsborough for coming backwards and Natasha Dix for and Paul and Councillor Fuller for coming backwards and forwards to get wording which particularly I and the Lib Dem group were happy with. Our motivation felt that this is about equality. We wanted to make sure that all applications were dealt with the same, whether they were an allocated site or not, and particularly so that the parish and town councils, who often not necessarily consulted on that allocation of a particular site previously, and residents and other stakeholders are able to get a level playing field. And I feel now that we have gone through, I think we went through 3 versions, but we actually got to a version which actually does go a very long way in getting to that equality. It might be seen as a small thing, but it's actually a very significant addition to the plan. And whereas I was going to vote against the island plan, I feel, and my colleagues and we're going to, we feel comfortable now to support the island plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I'll come to you after. Thank you for Michael. Just to say thank you for your engagement this week and your input that's helped us as an administration, helped our officers and Paul in getting to a place that's acceptable in terms of that amendment to 615. As we said, we tried to listen and have listened all the way through this. And that's another example, with your help, Michael, of coming to an agreement that is hopefully suitable to the majority of people. So thank you for that. And I'll just point out, and it needs no pointing out to us, but I'm not sure who's watching in. This is a recommendation tonight, not a decision. This is a recommendation to full council, who make the decision and can debate any of this at their own will when it comes to full council. So, Peter.
Got a couple of questions. I have to say, I don't agree with Councillor Lilly. The amendment was principally proposed by me. I put forward the paper and Natasha Dix's request. Just about all of the amendments that I requested were turned down in writing. I've not been invited to discuss it with anyone, and I therefore thought it was set in stone, not unreasonably. So I don't believe this, as far as cooperating with me and my amendments are concerned, there's been any cooperation whatsoever. I'd like to know if the amendment now that appears to be agreed to 6.15, if that means that best and most versatile agricultural land will be taken out of the allocations if I can show that land is best and most versatile. The amendment appears now to include consideration of the NPPF. That being so, the NPPF says that development on best and most versatile agricultural land should be avoided where possible. Doesn't seem to me, with respect, therefore, that it's appropriate for it to be an allocated site.
Paul, are you able to answer that? Otherwise, we'll give a written response.
I would be able to. I'm just trying to find out where it is in the plan. But there is a policy for the best agricultural site, as you're probably aware of, within the island planning strategy. That was quite important for that to be included from the get-go. That agricultural land of high quality, I think it's grade A, grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3A, is all incorporated within this as a reason for perhaps challenging some planning applications, because the retention of our agricultural land is very, very important. I'm just trying to find where that policy lies.
Doesn't matter where the
Peter.
policy lies. if that
Peter.
makes sense. I'm just trying to short.
No, Peter, thank you. Paul is answering your question. Thank you
I
very
don't
much.
think he is, with respect. My question is, will it cease to be an allocated site? Not is there a policy?
Okay, we'll give you a written response.
No,
We will give you a written response.
allow me to comment if
We will give you a written response. Have you a second question?
It does seem.
Have you got a second question? Have you got a second question? Peter, do you have a second question?
I'm
Or
going
we
to
will move
continue
on.
with this.
Peter, do you have a second question or we'll move on?
Once I've had an answer to this one.
You will get a written reply. Do you have a second? Do you have a second question?
Yes, is the cabinet really in favour of the DIPS reducing the power of planning committee as the decision maker reallocated sites? You want to answer that, or do you need time to consider it? It does seem to me, if I may say so, I won't speak. It does seem to me.
You won't
I may
speak.
say so.
Actually, you won't speak.
How dare
You will not speak.
How dare you?
This is right.
The
Will you
chairman.
leave the room, please?
No.
The chairman.
You won't leave the room?
No.
Okay. We're organised for this council to leave the room.
Sean, go.
Okay, well, I'll suspend the meeting
Disgrace.
until this council leaves the room.
Absolutely. And disgrace.
I'll open the meeting. I propose that councillor Spink leave this room. I'd like to say
Stated the first bit first, but not heard.
that the member should be heard no further. Second,
second that.
thank you. Those in favour? Thank you. I will now move to the vote. I'm not prepared to discuss this any further. Those in favour of recommending this to full council, please show. That's unanimous, thank you. Cabinet member announcements. Do we have any cabinet member announcements?
Thank you, Chair. Some very good news regarding our Isle of Wight dementia strategy. We've undertaken the year 2 review, and there have been significant achievements, including being shortlisted for the MJ Awards 2024 as one of 6 finalists in the category of innovation in children's and adult services. And also, we've launched very successfully a carer's passport. Also, our dementia hub at Parklands officially opens on the 13th of May next month. Work is also ongoing as part of our smoke-free generation initiative. So we will be publicising further initiatives with regard to that smoke-free generation. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Deb.
No,
JP?
nothing over here.
JP?
Very briefly, Chair, thank you. I'd just like to mention that we're currently running drop-in sessions about improving education provision on the island, and particularly how school place planning is undertaken. The sessions are informal. Staff are present at them to deal with questions, discuss matters with anyone who seeks to attend, and also receive suggestions. Essentially, all who are interested in the future of education on the island are encouraged to attend. The first two sessions took place on Monday at the Riverside Centre and proved both popular, and there was some very positive feedback about how useful the sessions were. There's actually a session going on this evening, starting, I mean, just started in 10 minutes at the Freshwater Memorial Hall, running through till 7:30, and then sessions next week on Monday in the evening at Ryde Academy, Cowes Enterprise College on Wednesday the 24th, again 5:30 to 7:30, and at the Bay School on Thursday the 25th at 5:30 to 7:30. The last session takes place in Wroxall on the 1st of May, again in the evening, 5:30 to 7:30. As I say, anyone who has an interest in these matters is very strongly encouraged to attend, and hopefully the sessions will both promote understanding and also receive a positive discussion and receive suggestions from those who attend. Thank you.
Just a very, very quick one, Leader. Last week I had the opportunity to go to the south of the Wight, where where communities have been affected by coastal erosion. It was very humbling seeing some of the residents holding on in St Lawrence, and I think our hearts go out to the residents of St Lawrence, residents of Bonchurch, and also to the community in Ventnor. I had the opportunity to talk to residents in Ventnor and also shopkeepers in Ventnor about some of the challenges they are finding as people are avoiding the town. I think Ventnor itself, it seems to have pulled itself up by its bootstraps and it's fighting on, and I'm very, very pleased by the response that I had from the residents down there, and I think it is a testament to us all when you have coastal protection issues, when you have flooding, how quickly the communities support themselves, which is fantastic. Last Friday, I was also in Cowes as well, in the areas that were affected by the flooding, and again had the opportunity to talk to businesses there of some of the challenges they're facing, and I'm hoping that we are those communities can get back on their feet as soon as they can. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Julie.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I wasn't able to announce the successful funding applications that we had our last cabinet, vis-a-vis the money from Arts Council for Ryde and Cowes Libraries. So great thanks to the team that put those funding applications in. Likewise successful at Dinosaur Isle for £500,000 through the Museums Fund from Arts Council England. That's going to make a massive difference to the museum there, the visitors, and of course the collection. And then of course from our team working for One Leisure team that have worked to bring some funding in for the swimming pools on the island. So again, really great that Ryde and the West Wight and a little bit for the Heights as well has come forward. So we've been very, very successful. So I just want a big thank, because these bids they're very, very competitive and they require a lot of work to get it over the line. And this is all to be part of people's everyday life. We don't have specific bid writers here. This has to take a lot of time out of their working day. And I suppose the biggest announcement we've got is we've finally got everything ready and it's all live now for applications to the Isle of Wight Rural Fund. So that's £250,000 for capital funding for small businesses that are based in the rural areas of the island or have a connection to the rural areas. So if you go on I think there's a press release coming out very soon next week, but it is live now. So the expression of interest page for people to fill in, and then that will be sort of triaged, and then they can be invited to put a full application in. So if you go onto the Innovation Wight website, the details are on there now, but we will be taking another out, because I think applications have to be in by the end of May. It's quite a quick turnaround, this one. So encourage anyone who wants to apply. And just give you an example, it could be someone who's got a tourist accommodation and they want to make it more accessible, so we can have visitors that have mobility needs. That would be a perfect type of project that it does require some match funding as well, but very excited about that. And yeah, sort of Not so much news this month because it's been Easter and everything, and it's just an extraordinary meeting. But next time you see me, I'll have in my usual raft of news. Oh, so that's sort of thing, we've had a bumper month at One Leisure with people, you know, with direct debits. That's completely turning around now. That from COVID, pre-COVID. So yeah, as our Councillor Shelley can testament there.
There for 2 hours every day.
Yeah, she's there every day. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Some of mine's with pre-election, so I won't go into those things, but there's two things. I can't remember what the other things are. But what I want to do is commend our emergency planning team, who are a silent champions of what goes on. So they were there at Cowes when Cowes was being flooded to make sure people were being looked after, etc. And I think they get very little credit because even people don't see them particularly, but they're always there. And there's only 3 of them, but they're excellent at their job. So I just want to commend them highly. And also, it comes under you, Paul, but just to remind people that the Property Flood Resilience Fund is open and the expression of interest has to be in by the end of May. So please let everybody know.
Some consideration of forward plan. We've all had a chance to look at any comments. There's nothing needs adding. We're okay with what's on it.
I should just say, Chair, that there will be a couple of matters, I think I've indicated this before, coming forward in respect of education decisions, but they're in hand at the moment and they haven't been quick enough to appear on this version, but will be on the next version.
Okay, fine. And finally, members' questions time.
Forward plan question, I think.
Just a quickie, leader. The draft iron planning strategy will be coming before full council on the 1st of May, not on the 24th of April that is highlighted in the forward
Oh,
plan.
okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Housekeeping, thanks. Any members' questions? Michael?
Yeah, thank you. I have 2 questions which my hat as chair of Policy and Scrutiny Committee for Health and Social Care. The first question, I'd like to welcome the report by Councillor Andre in relation to dementia and other sides. And there is some very good examples of a very good and hard work by the Adult Social Care Department. I am concerned, and I have written regarding this and yet to actually have a reply about various things that are getting into the public domain, particularly from the Independent Care Partnership, and regarding their worry about residential homes on this island, that that the offer that they are being doesn't cover the kind of wage increases and the other costs they're doing, and a number of those homes have made it very public that they might close. This would create a huge disablement of the care market because we rely on those residential homes, and if there isn't enough beds, then people in need would have to go onto the mainland at double the cost and all the social costs that would include. I'm also concerned, again, it's in the public domain, about staff disputes over conditions, and about the fact that the possible use of unqualified staff being used for care assistance because of that because of that dispute, which actually then to me becomes very worrying because that could become a CQP, situation. Sorry, the Quality Care Commission involved, and it puts me as chair of that committee in quite a difficult position because under the guidance from that committee, if I feel that there are things, I would be called upon to contact the TQC, which I have done or the committee has done in the past regarding, in fact, dementia, regarding faculty ward. Sorry. I just really wanted to ask, my question is that can my correspondence be responded to? I did write to yourself and also Councillor Stevens as a deputy regarding this, and I would like an answer to my questions and concerns, and that the public are reassured that there's not going to be an unstabling of the care market on the island, and that there is ongoing talks with the Independent Care Partnership.
Thank you, Mark.
Within that.
I'll ask Debbie to at least try and respond, provide some information and give Michael some assurance that we can reply to any emails that he sent to you.
Firstly, thank you, Michael, for your diligence and your concern. And I fully understand your position as the chair of the Policy and Scrutiny for Health and Social Care. And it's only right that you should come to us with things that you are concerned of. In respect of your first question regarding the independent providers, I can confirm that there is dialogue. There are ongoing conversations, but I will get a written update for you. As I say, there are ongoing conversations, so the situation is not an end. So I think it would be good to actually get an update for you of exactly where we currently are with that. In terms of your second question, well, more of a concern, I can reassure you that there are not, telephone operators are not carrying out full care assessments. They have very clear guidelines as to what information they need to ask certain questions to get certain information to be able to then escalate it on to the people that then carry out the assessment. So I don't know if there's some confusion, but again, I will get a written detailed explanation for you on that.
Thank you.
But just to reassure you, that is not the case.
Just so that you know, I have a meeting this afternoon with a scrutiny officer, and we're going to put the position of residential homes onto the next meeting on the 6th. It's the 6th of June, the beginning of June, the first Monday in June on the agenda as well.
Thanks for that information, Michael.
I have a second question.
Second question, please.
My second question, again, as the chair of the committee, Health and Social Care Committee, there's been a lot of movement with health partners. You've got the merging, got Project Fusion. I often call it Project Confusion, with the merger of the mental health department, because it wasn't a trust, it was St Mary's Trust, moving into the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Community and Mental Health Trust. I think that's and it's now official that with Solent Health, etc. You also have obviously the change of the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Integrated Care Board, and obviously St Mary's with Portsmouth Hospitals, and obviously our own public health is under Hampshire with that. My concern is that it very much appears that the islanders' health needs are now being very much dictated on the mainland more than ever. And actually trying to get chief executives or directors to my committee is extremely difficult. And I'm also very concerned about the representation that we have on the various bodies. Really puts us as a very junior partner with other areas within Hampshire. And I just wondered what the council was doing to, you know, as one of those stakeholders within those partnerships, to get our voice much more heard, because some of the issues of that, I did today have a very good meeting with the ICB Denby House regarding dentistry, which was a very positive meeting. But if a piece of equipment, for instance, on a dentist piece of equipment goes down and they need to get it over from the mainland, it's going to cost £500 just for that thing, more than actually is done on the mainland. We have a very, very strong health inequality, and we need to be making sure that we have a strong enough voice to that body, and particularly the ICB, Educated Care Board, because that commissions the services on the island. And I just really wanted to put forward and ask what the Isle of Wight Council and you as a cabinet were doing to bang on the drum and make sure that the island isn't forgotten about because of stronger other partners within the various new structures.
Michael,
I'm happy to.
have a go at that.
Have a go at it.
Hopefully, I'm more than have a go at it. Thank you, Michael. You raised very valid points, and to be fair, I had the same concern as you when the ICB, right at the beginning, when it was actually being formed, again, that the Isle of Wight would have good representation. And in fact, I did email through to them asking what, at that initial stage, what the process would be and what our representation would be. And I was reassured that we would be an equal partner. But again, I can get more detailed information. But as I say, I did share that concern. On the second point that you raised regarding dentistry, if you remember, it was actually, we had a presentation, I think, at one of your committees, one of the committees for health, where the dental strategy was put forward. And I'm really pleased that you've been able to contact them directly. But I'm more than happy, if you would want me to get an update on, because the dental strategy that is going to be implemented, as you will now know, is in stages. So I can get an update as to where we are and whether we are actually ahead, behind, or according to those phases that were going to be implemented. There were 3 strands as part of the dental strategy, and I'm very happy to get an update for you.
Thank you, Councillor Andre. I have, in fact, I was using that as an example, because that was fresh in my mind. I have to actually report that I had a very positive meeting today, and at my next meeting, the next committee meeting, so I might not be the chair, but the next committee meeting on the beginning of June, there is an item to report back on the dentistry, and there will be a very interesting presentation by the ICB in partnership with Denby House, which is the only NHS sole provider on the island. All the other dentists are mixed or private. In fact, it's the oldest dentist. It's been there since 1877. Because we've actually looked, and one of the things that I am writing to, I've already spoken to councillor Bacon, is about working with Isle of Wight Council Children's and Education with the dentistry directorate at the ICB, local dentist like Denby House, to go into all the schools, because we desperately need to get dentistry. So it's actually a very positive thing, and that will be reported back at my next meeting.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. I have a number of written questions. Are there any further questions? I'll read out the written questions then. So I have a number, bear with me as I read them out, because I will read the replies as is required. So question one is this is from Councillor Jarman to the leader. Is the Cabinet aware and is the Cabinet aware and do they support the decision of the leader to disregard the democratically supported budget amendment provision that the contact centre opening on Saturday mornings should be retained to support those residents, many working, that are unable to attend Monday to Friday? Noting that this was at zero net cost due to small reductions of hours during the week when the resident demand was lowest. Our reply is the Cabinet supports the leader with the decision to reduce the opening hours of the Council's contact centre. Following a review of the numbers of calls received and the nature of inquiries being made, it was identified that there was a limited number of calls being made by residents on Saturday morning between 9 AM and 1 PM. The data clearly demonstrated that our residents preferred to contact the Council's contact centre on weekdays between 9 and 5 PM, and therefore the service was realigned around the needs of our customers. Refresh of the website has also given our residents the opportunity to self-serve and take advantage of the many automated functions, which can include a request for an appointment or callback from an advisor, thereby providing a more tailored service at a time convenient to the customer. I had a second question. It said, does the leader agree that council-owned land should be used for council houses affordable to rent by those on the housing register and not sold to private developers to build houses that maximise their profits and islanders cannot afford? And will the details, including the purchase price of the 23 building plots owned by the council that the leader and his deputy propose to sell to private developers, be concealed from the public? Our answer is this. Council is working to provide housing for islanders as a key corporate priority. All methods of delivery to enable this are considered appropriate, whilst ensuring best value is achieved for council-owned assets. There is no single preferred delivery method for housing. Sites may be sold to a range of providers or developers that build market housing. It is the council's priority to deliver affordable housing wherever possible. Offers made for sites will be treated in confidence. While negotiations are ongoing, confidentiality will remain in place. Once the sales are complete, the details of price agreed will be made publicly available. Approval by the council's finance director or team is always required as part of any formal council approval to dispose, ensuring best consideration is achieved. That is our answer to those two questions. I have two other questions. Question one is the judicial review in the planning consent, Westridge Farm is due to be heard at the Southampton Combined Court in July. From what source is the cost of the Isle of Wight Council to defend this case being or to be drawn? Can the expenditure be justified given the limited funds of the council and the strength of the case against it? Our reply is as follows. The cost of defending the judicial review claim is being met from existing legal budget. The claim is one to which, given the nature of part of the claim, there is special cost capping arrangement in place. That is the Aarhus Convention. As a result, there is a maximum adverse cost liability of £10,000 for the claimant and £35,000 for the council. Any costs exceeding these figures must be met by the parties from their own resources. The local planning authority consider the grant of planning permission to be a lawful and sound planning decision. As this matter is subject to live High Court proceedings, it would be inappropriate to comment further. The final question.
Who's that from, Phil?
Sorry?
Who's that from?
That is from Councillor Spink. Thank you for that clarity. And a second question from Councillor Spink is, will the leader explain why he was willing to allow Councillor Quigley, the then chair of corporate scrutiny, to see the details of the floating bridge settlement, but is not willing to allow the current chair the same opportunity? I haven't got that written down, although I can answer it.
You've got, yeah. You answer it, we'll scribe it for correspondence.
The answer to that question is that on the 22nd of November, a committee of the scrutiny at the scrutiny committee, where the current chair, Councillor Robertson, was chairing the meeting, asked me if I would be prepared to allow him to see the settlement figure. My reply to him was that the chair of the scrutiny committee, previous to him, Councillor Quigley, had seen the settlement figure, and as far as we were concerned, that was the end of the matter in terms of the role of scrutiny. At that same meeting, Councillor Robertson agreed that that was the end of the matter as far as he was concerned. That is our answer to those two questions. I have no other written questions. Chris.
Thank you, Leader. I have a supplementary to the first question I asked there, and it follows this way. Are there any items on the budget amendment democratically passed at the last full council that the leader is going to permit his cabinet to implement, or does he intend that they should seek to thwart all of them?
I would have given a written answer to this, but the answer would have been that we have not decided on what our projects are going to be for the rest of this financial year. So I can't say whether we will be delivering or won't be delivering any of the amendments. Any further questions? Ian.
Leader, in your answer to the availability of certain information on the disposal of land, which could include the price of the land and possibly some conditions on it. You said that yes, that would be made available to the public and indeed to fellow members. I have always held, and I've been in this position, that when you go into procurement and it might be a tendering situation or something, then you have a partnership with the people that are either tendering or who are successful in bidding. And it's not a unilateral declaration that we should be making as to whether we put the price and the conditions out into the open, out into the open market and what have you, because without the permission of the successful bidder or indeed the person that is moving forward with doing business with the Isle of Wight Council, because as I believe people would be aware that sometimes the sensitivities of business and business plans and etc. of our partners or the acquirers of our land need to be, if you like, responsibly kept between if requested, kept between the entity and the Isle of Wight Council. I mean, from my point of view, everything and anything should be out there in open game. But the thing is that we have to make sure that people that do business with the Isle of Wight Council are respected, their businesses and the way they negotiate and what they negotiate are kept as part of a responsible way forward to actually bring forward business partnerships, business relationships, and not injure the said business or the said any of our assets. I would just say that, but that is down to obviously not leaving it open as open season, but actually looking at each case, valid case, where we should take into consideration what the tendering process actually states, so that people who bid for things actually know what the considerations are going to be and what the areas are, so that they can make their business plans. If they wish to bid, they can. But I don't think it's down to the Isle of Wight Council just to say, here's a result of the procurement exercise out to the general public without first acquiring the permissions of the people that are involved, who might be successful or indeed unsuccessful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Any further questions? No further questions, therefore 5:55, meeting is over. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, Chairman.